Hey guys, welcome back for your golf tip of the week. I'm Dr. Nate Hoover with Optimal Physical Therapy and Dr. Jared Hutter with Optimal Physical Therapy. We're over here at Lake Mills Golf Club giving you another tip and drill to work on your golf swing. So last week we talked about the drill at the wall where you can work on your wrist hinge for your backswing, and then also coming through to the impact zone or sliding your hips forward to ball impact. So today we're going to do a similar drill again at the wall, but focus more on the follow through and what should your hips, knees, back be doing in the follow through phase of the golf swing. And after that, then we'll move to a kind of a mobility stability drill that works on some of the hip and mid-back stuff that we've been working on in weeks past. So Jared will set up here for us with his left foot up against the wall and come to his address posture or stance for over the golf ball. You don't need a club for this component because our hands are going to be passing past the front, but you can go through that motion of coming back into your backswing with the wrist hinge like we had practiced last week, keeping that front arm straight, coming through into the impact zone, and as you come into the impact zone, sliding the hips forward so that way you're touching your hip to the wall. And now we'll follow through and rotate our hips, giving almost like a push with this back hand so that way you're squaring up your hips to the wall and then pivoting on this back foot here so that way you're square towards your target now in the follow through. And then you can work through that a couple times, even bringing the hands past as well and working on that internal rotation of the front leg or pivoting on that front leg through the follow-through phase of the golf swing. If this is hard for you, if your front foot is twisting and pointing forward, that can be indicative of some mobility issues either at the hip, the mid-back, or down into the foot. And if you're having mobility deficits there, those are things that can impact your swing, but also the flight of the ball. So working on mobility drills can help to correct some of those things. So if these drills are hard for you, we can take a deeper look into what might be causing some of that. So that's your last drill here at the wall for today, but then what we'll do is we'll go to a more stability drill in standing. So we'll come right over here and we have Tiffany and Jarrett here now. So if one of you want to face this way, like you're pressing the ball in one face, you can. Perfect. So this kind of goes back to some of the stuff that we did week 1, week 2, where we were stepping forward, working on that hip mobility, and then stepping back, working on the hip mobility, but then putting it all together with a full swing. So you can step back, keeping your stance, your front stance leg planted, stepping back, opening up, and then coming through into your follow through and repeating that motion, so then stepping across. Perfect. So again, what we're working on is that mobility of the front hip and foot as well as the mid-back. And with this is, we call it a pivot lunge. This can also be a pivot tap. So if a pivot lunge feels good, it feels comfortable, you have the motion, then go ahead and bring it to a pivot tap. So now just tap your toe at each end of that motion. Good. You'll notice that there'll be less motion and it'll be a little bit more challenging to do the pivot tap as opposed to the pivot lunge. And if you really want to try something challenging, try not touching your foot at all. So just rotate about that same axis of motion, but don't touch it all throughout it. And now this is really where you're going to test some of that stability. Tiffany's doing a nice job of that. Where you'll test that stability about the hip. Can my muscles control my body weight around that motion? Now the same thing can be done now on your back leg or the trail leg of the swing. So coming through, stepping across into that back swing, and then opening up with the follow through. And the same things apply. You can go from the pivot lunge to the pivot tap, then progress to no tap. No tap looks and feels really bad for you, just stick with the tap or the pivot line. Awesome. Nice job, guys. Comment below. Let us know if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to see in upcoming videos. And thanks for tuning in.